Howdy, this is Purge bringing you guys a first-person replay commentary. I'm going to be doing a video of the hero that you guys wanted. And number one right now is Earth Spirit. So the last couple days I've been practicing Earth Spirit in 10v10 Dota and Overthrow a little bit just to get more used to using his abilities. And I made a game that I felt was okay enough. It wasn't an amazing game, but I feel like I'm at a decent place mechanically where I can play Earth Spirit at a mostly good level, like an 80%, 85% of maximum efficiency level, which is not very good compared to my MMR, but I can kind of play the hero now. So yeah, I'll give you guys my tips and tricks on the hero. Now first off, we're going to go to the Dotabuff section. Recently read some stuff that said I'm actually supposed to disclose sponsorship stuff in every video I make. So per usual, Dotabuff does sponsor me, and they did initially get me to do these Dotabuff sections, but luckily it's really fucking useful. So it doesn't even feel like I'm being sponsored by them. So shout outs to them for sponsoring me, but again, I'm going to start disclosing that every time I make this video. So just so you guys know, they do sponsor me. Okay, so if we take a look at Earth Spirit as a hero, he is actually not very popular, but that's just because he's a little bit hard to play. A little bit is an understatement. I think he's actually one of the hardest heroes to play mechanically. There's very small timings, there's a couple of tricks that you need to learn, and hopefully I can teach you those tricks. Maybe it would be beneficial to go into a custom lobby and show you guys, but I'll just have to explain it to you guys verbally. So he's got 3 basic abilities and 1 ultimate. This first one is called Boulder Smash. It basically punches a boulder. All right. Well, before I do this, let me preface this. His 3 skills, they work by themselves, but they're weaker versions if you don't use your Stone Remnant. Okay, so you got these Stone Remnant things. You can cast them anywhere. Well, not anywhere. It's got a cast range, but you've got 6 of them. You can put them on the ground. They cost 0 mana. You can put them down as fast as you want. But if you use them in conjunction with your 3 basic skills, they make your basic skills do better things and do more things. So Boulder Smash, for example. You can Boulder Smash any creep, any hero. If you do that, it pushes them up to 800 units, and it does 200 magic damage in that AoE that you push them in that line. Now, it only stuns if you're boulder smashing a boulder. If you boulder smash a boulder, it goes 2,000 units instead, and it does a stun of 2.25 seconds. So vastly different. But if you want to, you can boulder smash an ally in a direction. That's one solution that you can use with boulder smash. So what you do is you drop the stone remnant, and then you click where you want to send the boulder smash, and then it will punch that boulder in that direction. It can be any direction, 360 degrees. But usually you want to boulder smash it towards multiple heroes. You can get multiple stuns with this. It's a 10-second cooldown at level 4, which makes it actually a pretty good stun. And 2.25 seconds duration is quite good. Excuse me. Alright, next one is Rolling Boulder. This turns you into a little bit of a rolling ball, and you move yourself 800 units, which is decent. But it's a pretty long cooldown at level 1 at 16 seconds. If you put a boulder down as you roll through that boulder, then you shoot a lot faster, and you go a distance of 1,600 instead. So you double the distance. And you go much faster. It is like obscenely faster if you do the rolling boulder instead. Now, if you collide with a hero on the way through with the rolling boulder, it's kind of like Sark Pounce. You'll stop where they are, but on the opposite side of them, and you will do a slow. If you use the regular rolling boulder, it does 100 damage. If you use the amped up one with the boulder, then it does 100 damage and it slows. So that's the difference. The slow thing is pretty important because it's 80% movement speed slow and attack speed slow, by the way. And it lasts for 2 seconds. So that basically lets you do early roaming and early disables. It's also a really good way to initiate. It kind of covers you for not needing to get a blink dagger. So a very common combo for the early game, for example, is you see a hero that you think is going to stand still for about a second. You cast Rolling Boulder on him. You put a rock by you or in front of you. And then you instantly shoot that 1,600 range. You hit him, and he's slowed for 2 seconds. And about that point, or after about 2 seconds of right-clicking him with an Orb of Venom, then you'll drop another Remnant, and you'll cast Boulder Smash on him, or shoot the boulder through him to stun him for more duration. So that's a very common early combo. Or what you can do is, if you think he's going to stop moving, you can shoot the Boulder Smash first, and then you can do the Rolling Boulder afterwards. That's another way that you can do it. You can kind of choose which one you want to try to skill shot. Both are skill shots. They're sometimes difficult to land. So either one of these works out very nicely, though. Your third skill is called Geomagnetic Grip. You used to be able to pull your allies towards you, but you can only do that now if you have Aghanim Scepter, which I think is balanced. You can also pull creeps to you, but most of the time that's not really that worth doing. But if you pull a boulder instead, it does damage, 50 to 200 damage, and it silences for up to 4 seconds. So basically, by using your 3 spells, you can stun someone for 2.25 seconds, you can afterwards silence them for 4 seconds, and you can also slow them during that period of time for up to 2 seconds. So those 3 abilities together give you a wide breadth of disables, and that's pretty much what makes Earth Spirit good. His triple stone combo used to do 300 damage, but now it only does 200 damage. Each of these used to be 100, at least 100 damage at level 1, I believe, and that's kind of what made Earth Spirit 2 OP, was that at level 3, he could do 300 damage plus right clicks, which was just really strong against a lot of supports. His ultimate is also extremely good. As you activate it in a small AoE around you, it starts magnetizing some units, and it does 50 damage for 6 seconds. That's a 300 damage nuke. It's pretty good for that. But every time a new boulder is applied or a new boulder goes in the area of somebody that's magnetized, it does a large AoE of 600 that puts magnetize on everybody in that AoE. So it's very easy to get magnetized on the entire enemy team. So if you put it on if you cast magnetize and then put a boulder down right away, it'll usually catch everybody in an AoE, and then you can chase them down and keep refreshing that every 6 seconds or so. So that's kind of the goal with magnetize. Now this can be removed with diffusal blades, using yourself, dark pact on Sark. There's a lot of ways to remove magnetize now. Not Aetherlens. What's that other item that is kind of similar? Lotus Orb also debuffs. Those are a couple different ways to deal with magnetize, but that's kind of your combo. So in the late game, what you'll probably do is, as the fight starts, you rolling boulder in, you immediately cast magnetize. You immediately, after magnetize is casted, you put a stone remnant down, and then you use a boulder smash. It's important to do that because as you roll into the enemy team, a lot of cases they're just going to stun you right away, and this happens to me all the time because I'm still bad at Earth Spirit, is that as I jump in and magnetize like 5 heroes, I put the boulder down to put the damage on everybody, but then they stun me and I just get bursted down and I die. And it's important to stay alive and to keep casting boulders on people. So it's really important that as soon as you initiate, that you cast a rolling boulder smash. That way they're stunned, and then afterwards you can silence them. Now, before I go over skill builds and stuff, oh god, this is the most built. Oh, that's disgusting. Before I go over the other aspects of them, the other really important thing to remember is that you need to be efficient with your stone remnant uses, because these do have a recharge of 30 seconds and you will run out of time. Like, you'll run out of boulders. It will 100% happen. And that's if you use them inefficiently. So for example, if you're initiating with a stun, what you should technically be doing is drop a remnant, punch it, and as soon as it passes through the person that you're stunning, you pull it back again with geomagnetic grip. That way you're only using one stone to both do the damage from the boulder smash and the damage from geomagnetic grip. Now, if you're trying to lengthen the amount of disable you have, you don't want to do it that way, because as the boulder passes through somebody, the moment it hits them, you've got 2.25 seconds before you want to silence them. And the reality is that if you punch it and pull it immediately, then you're overlapping that stun with that silence. So against a hero like Storm Spirit or Anti-Mage, you want to boulder smash through, and then later you want to drop a stone remnant to pull through to silence for an extra 4 seconds. So you do actually want to, you don't really want to stack these disables if you can. So that's another thing you can do. Or what you can do is you can punch the boulder through, you can pull it back, and then as you pull it back, you start the rolling boulder. That way as the boulder comes back to you, the rolling boulder will hit it, and you'll use one boulder for 3 spells. I'm really bad about using rolling boulder for damage in a lot of cases. I usually only use it for initiation or occasionally escape. I don't think about this ability enough, but it's still very good for damages. It does 100 damage. Keep in mind that when you use a rolling boulder, it does consume a boulder, whereas if you punch or pull them, they're just going to stay on the field. If you use magnetize, it'll usually destroy the rock after you put it down. So it kind of eats through your remnants pretty fast. Okay, and just keep in mind again, of course, stone remnant, watch for them on the battlefield because you can recycle them. Basically, if you find one that's kind of close to you, walk over to it and use the rolling boulder to initiate or to get closer to the fight without wasting as many. Alright, and the last ability is actually enchant remnant, but you only get this if you have an axe. It turns an ally or an enemy into a stone for 3 seconds, and that means that you can pull them or punch them away when you have a stone. So it's best for allies basically. In most cases, but you can also cast it on an opponent and punch them towards your team, 2,000 units. So it can be very good for that. Alright, enough about the abilities, until we get into the game. Common item build, always get rolling boulder level 1 because it's by far the best for roaming and escaping. I used to get boulder smash level 1, but it's awful. It's a 22-second cooldown, it stuns for 0.75 seconds, and it only does 50 damage. It's not worth getting at level 1. Rolling boulder is far better. And so what you basically do is you buy an Orb of Venom at the start of the game. You get Rolling Boulder, you roll into somebody, and you hit them and chase them. Because your damage is pretty good, your armor is like 3. So you're actually pretty good at trading at level 1. Your strength is also really high, your HP is quite high, your strength gain is solid. So you definitely want to trade with heroes a lot. But your skill build should be 1 Rolling Boulder, then you get 2 points in Boulder Smash, unless you really want to silence. In some cases, it might be better to get a level of silence if you're against like a Weaver in lane or something. You could probably justify that. But I usually go 1, 2, 2, and then I get a silence, and then I max out the rest of Boulder Smash while getting my ulti at 6. So basically my skill build at level 7 is 4 points in Boulder Smash, 1 Rolling Boulder, and 1 in Geomagnetic Grip. I've seen some people do a little bit of a mix of Boulder Smash as well as Geomagnetic Grip, but keep in mind that as you do level up Boulder Smash here, the cooldown goes down to 10 seconds, which is pretty important. Whereas Geomagnetic Grip stays at 13 seconds at all levels. So if you're talking about long team fights, casting 2 Boulder Smashes is really important because you could stun multiple heroes twice in a fight. And again, of course, ulti every time you can. Items that are pretty common. I'm not entirely sure about items just yet on Earth Spirit. I've been playing around with going a Veil build, like an Tranquil Boots Veil build. This game I went Arcane Boots, but I felt it was really unnecessary because I got an Urn as well. If you do get Urn, I think in the future I would skip Arcanes. But you can also go Arcane Urn into something like Glimmer Cape. I just haven't really played enough Earth Spirit games where I feel like I'm 100% sure what items I'm buying. I played a lot of 10v10 and Overthrow, and those aren't good examples of games where you can figure out your item builds. So this game I felt completely off on my item builds. The Arcanes was wasted, but I did have a Crystal Maiden, and I bought an Urn, so it was way overkill on mana. I definitely regret buying the Arcane Boots this game. Would have been better off going like maybe even Brown Boots is not bad. Brown Boots, Urn of Shadows into Force Staff or Aghanim Scepter. Veil is really good because all of your damage is magical, so you can amp that up a lot. Aether Lens is probably not terrible either. It would increase the range of Boulder Smash. You could rolling boulders longer probably, and same with the Geomagnetic Grip. So it might not be bad, and it amps your damage by 8%. Might not be terrible. It's an option. Alright, and heroes you are good against. Pretty good against Morphling, Spectre, OD. The rest of the heroes are okay. These are all basically heroes that need to cast spells to be effective, so the goal is you basically silence them for 4 seconds and you kind of just win team fights. So try to get good Geomagnetic Grips. Whenever I'm playing supports, if I'm against an Earthshaker or an Earth Spirit, the worst thing is easily getting silenced. I hate getting silenced when I'm playing against this hero. You're also good against Morphling because you prevent him from morphing, you can prevent him from jumping, you can stun him. Morphling's a little hard to kill though by yourself because he can generally just morph HP, and that means that you won't be able to solo kill with Magnetize. But there are times in the game, if you play well in Earth Spirit, where you can just solo kill people and snowball, and it's probably one of the most fun things about him. Earth Spirit genuinely used to be really overpowered, and he's probably still a little too strong, but he's getting to a better place. He's not nearly the same hero that he was a year ago. Heroes you're bad against. Huskar. You pretty much can't do anything against Huskar. You only do magic damage, so he resists a lot of that. You can stun him, you can silence him. Those are all actually useful things. Stopping his Burning Spheres is actually a large portion of his damage. And some of these other heroes, a little surprised to see. I guess Io can heal up somebody that's taking damage. Elder Titan, not really sure why he's good against Earth Spirit. Maybe because your base armor is pretty high, and he counters that, and he can interrupt your initiations. I'm not quite sure. A bit weird there. Kind of hard to kill Lycan because he's pretty fast. Broodmother you don't have enough AoE to deal with, and some of these other heroes are similar situations. Keep in mind, a lot of what makes Earth Spirit strong is his high HP, so he definitely needs to stay alive here. But again, items I really recommend: Arcane Boots, Urn of Shadows, Magic Wand in the early game. Force Staff is great, Veil of Discord is good, Blade Mail is maybe not as good as it used to be, but considering you have a lot of HP, having a Blade Mail to give you more damage is good. Blink Dagger is great because you can do things like blink initiations and then roll out as you're in trouble, so it's cool things like that. If we take a look at hero meta statistics and we look for Earth, other one. He has a 52% win rate above 5k, but it's really bad at lower MMR players. But his abilities are really hard to use, so it makes sense. You have to practice hero a lot. He's actually pretty good at 4k as well, about 50%. So he's maybe still a little high. If we look at the highest heroes in terms of win percentage, he is actually going to be a little bit lower than a good amount of heroes, but he's still pretty high up there. This is like top 20 or something like that. It's not bad. Kind of interesting to see that almost all of these heroes have their highest win percentage at 5k and above. Omni actually has an incredible win rate, 58%. Okay, so that is everything you need to know about Earth Spirit, other than the fact that if I go over here, Earth Spirit is not played often for me. I've only played 14 official games, and somehow I have a 64% win rate. I actually can't believe this. This is really surprising to me, considering I almost never play Earth Spirit, and frankly, I've been awful at Earth Spirit prior to like 4 days ago, but definitely one of my least played heroes. So, okay. Everything you need to know about Dotabuff. Thanks again to Dotabuff for giving me money. That's right, guys. They are my sponsor, and I do not want to get sued by the FCC. Okay, let's start with the game. I think it's fairly relevant that I also point out that the fact that this Dotabuff logo over here, this is because they're giving me money, and I like their company, guys. Okay, just covering my bases here. I'm not even kidding though. I really like Dotabuff a lot. I have a great relationship with them. I really appreciate everything they've done, and I think they provide a really good service to the world. Okay, so these are your starting items on Earth Spirit. Always get an Orb of Venom. Always get a Tango. You can either get a Clarity or an Ironwood Branch, and I think your fourth item should be a Fairy Fire because you're often very aggressive in the early game. I also bought a Courier, so if you're playing a support Earth Spirit, which is usually how you should play him, he's almost exclusively a support right now, then you should do Courier, but you have to be greedy with the Orb of Venom. The Orb of Venom's absolutely mandatory on this hero, in my opinion. Your base damage is already good, your armor's pretty good, you just need to be able to trade with your opponent. Oh god, I had like the most embarrassing first 2 minutes of this game.
The battle begins.
Because I missed Enchantress.
Worthy tribute.
So if I would have hit her with that, I would have done 100 damage, and I would have been able to start Orb of Venoming her, which would have been nice. Instead, I decided to go slap her around a bit. Probably should have used a Tango here before I started going to trade, because I was actually missing HP. I grabbed that Tango way late. That was so late. I checked her items. She had a Fairy Fire as well. He kind of got one right click in there by juking, and then I kind of just gave up on life. I also limited, like, the fact that I ate that tree was so bad, because it limited my ability to juke, right? As soon as I ate that tree, I was 100% dead. But the reality is that all I should have done is, as soon as I decided that I was going to go chase him, I should have eaten a tree. That way, the Tango has been healing up that tower hit that I took, and by the time I go for the fight, then I'm more healed up, and the Tango's already working. So I just completely dicked that up, and I gave Enchantress the first blood, which is really awful. It did look like I was going to kill her, but then she juked around the trees a little bit, and it allowed her Tango to kick in a bit more. And then she got in like an extra half attack more than me because I had to close the distance. But me eating that tree when I was that low is so stupid, because if I just would have stayed alive for like a couple more seconds, I would have had another rolling boulder, and I could have just killed her with that and reduced her attack speed by 80%, possibly just finished her off. So I just did that super wrong. That was really embarrassing. It also used almost all of my Tangos and my Fairy Fire, so it's a really bad start. In a lot of cases, you will actually go mid to roam, but because it's a co-op, it's not really possible, because as I Rolling Boulder in, she'll just blink. And TA as well also doesn't have a disable, so if I go to initiate, we basically have my slow and up to a 1.25 second stun if I have 2 points in Boulder Smash, so I don't think it's worth it. I did a roll here because I didn't want to use my Tango to kill these trees. Just trying to be a little efficient here. I maybe could have gotten this last hit and then gotten over to pull, but instead I was just trying to be really careful to make sure I connected the pull, since I really need to get some creep equilibrium in our favor down here. And this is the life of playing a melee support, man. You just can't get as many last hits when you're pulling. I could have probably gone the first one, but it's also very important versus Enchantress that you try to deny these neutrals if you can. We could definitely go on her. So if you're curious how I just did the rolling, how I did the boulder here, I probably should have just blocked her the whole way, I think. But I do actually need to keep hitting her for Orb of Venom. Alright, so the way that I'm doing that basically is, I figured this out the game before because I forgot about the patch notes. If you want to drop the, all right, this is, let me explain this. Okay, so let's say that my hero is Crystal Maiden and I'm trying to boulder smash this PA. If you're standing here, you don't want to be looking where your hero is, right? You're looking at the PA to see where she's moving. So what you have to do is you have to target either your rolling boulder or your boulder smash to where she's gonna move, because that's how you aim it. So the problem is that when you're ready to go, you have to drop a boulder and then you have to go. So to drop a boulder, if I'm aiming over here, I would have to go over to my hero, I'd have to drop a boulder, and then I'd have to move my camera and mouse again, and then I'd have to click over here, which is a problem if I'm using edge pan. If I'm using like keys to move my camera, this is easier. So it's very difficult to do that. And then I was like, oh, that's right, they added that thing where if you double tap the stone remnant hotkey, the remnant gets placed right in front of you. So I was like, God, I'm an idiot. So now basically if you're a Crystal Maiden and you're trying to snipe this PA, all you have to do is you double tap your stone remnant, and then you cast the boulder smash in the direction you want. That way you're basically keeping your mouse in the same place. Same with the rolling boulder. You cast the rolling boulder where you want to move, and then you double tap the stone remnant button. That way you don't have to go, okay, I want to go here, and you go back and put a stone there and then go back again, because then it's just difficult to execute, more difficult than it needs to be. So by what I basically did in all of those initiations, I basically pick the place I want to roll to, and then as I start my roll, I double tap the stone remnant, and then it gives me the super boost to hit her. So that's very, very important. It took me a couple games to figure that out, quite a few games, and I was trying to play it the other way, and it's way harder. Don't do that to yourself, guys. It's not worth it. Not worth it at all. Another cool thing is you can actually cast spells while you're rolling. So there is the possibility of, while doing a rolling boulder, to do like a drive-by stone if you want to get closer. Just taking a look at the Quap's HP here and just figuring out if I want to help out, or if I can help out in the mid lane. It's a little tough again against Quap, and again with TA, she doesn't have a stun either, so it's kind of hard to get those kills. And I'm just kind of watching top. Kind of looks like I should be up there. It's like they had a jungling Purge. Kind of wasted all my time. I wonder if I should have rotated instead. I would have ran into Purge, but considering that I have boots, I don't think I would have had any trouble. Yeah, he doesn't have boots yet. And we also denied both runes. Nicely done by the CM, so Quap gets nothing there. Which means I can maybe hang out. Quap's less likely to be full HP. So if I just stand here, there's a chance that we can get a kill mid. It's a nice hook by Pudge here. This game's maybe not the best example of Earth Spirit due to the fact that I couldn't roam on mid, but just the way that I traded hits with the Enchantress should give you an idea that I'm going to try to catch him here. Keep in mind that what I have to do is I have to rolling boulder into him, and I immediately after I have to go for the stun. My TA used an invis here. I was really upset that he actually used the trap there. That was a huge mistake by the TA. He actually completely messed that gank up. The reason is because he basically reacted. He let the TA, or he let the Quap know that something was happening like a full quarter second, half second before I went in. If I use rolling boulder, I can connect with the rolling boulder and get the punch off before she's able to blink. And again, it's only a 0.75 stun. But if he would have done all that at the same time, if he does the slow and attacks her at the same time, then it would have been okay. Stupid centaurs with their fast attack point. So that could have gone better. I think we could have killed Quap there actually, because he was invis, and I think he had a meld strike. So with just a punch and a boulder smash, that is, and a couple hits from TA, I think we definitely could have killed her. It's very frustrating playing support with players that don't know how to properly when it's the right time to go, because those little fractions of seconds make all the difference here. It makes a big difference. Luckily I got a couple free last hits. This is kind of nice.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Pudge is down here. That means we can probably fight. I maybe should have gone in earlier here. I did miss my rolling boulder, but got a, luckily he died to creeps here. Got a couple boulders here, I can use these, recycle these for the smash. Luckily he didn't die in time.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I did actually miss the rock there, but it ended up being okay, because it still did damage. It just wasn't as fast as you can see. But it could have lost us the kill if she ran slightly away. I wouldn't have been able to catch her. So I think I played that fight a little too overly safe, but it ultimately worked out. And again, our CM just fully disconnected. That was the only time in this game, so it was just unlucky that she ended up getting caught there. But I have a lot of gold for the early game here for a support. 7 minutes, I'm level 4, so I'm a little under leveled, but it's usually pretty important to get observer wards at this stage. I'm actually kind of late on that, 7 minutes. It's very deep into the night. So not having wards up for our team is going to hurt them. But Urn of Shadows gives you HP, gives you the mana regen you need. I feel like the Urn and the Arcane Aura alone would have covered me in terms of mana. Because if you're not spamming your skills to harass, in most cases you shouldn't do that, then it's not a big deal to only have a little bit of mana regen. The place that you usually lose a lot of mana is when you start casting Geomagnetic Grip, your third skill. And that's because it does 50 damage and you're spending 100 mana on it. So if you're using Geomagnetic Grip, make sure that you have some good mana regen here. Just looking for opportunities here. Important that you go for the double hit. Alright, she does end up dying. We get 2 Urn charges out of that, which is pretty nice. Is my mouse on the right screen? Damn, dude, my FPS is real low. Computer's getting old, man. It's almost I think about a year old this year. It's a really good computer, but it's having trouble doing all this like 60 FPS, 1080p encoding all year. I've worked it hard, that's for sure. Anyways, oh man, I don't have my hero selected. Oh, got 5 items. Got 1 Urn charge. That part's pretty good. We can maybe get a kill on the Quap here. I can stun her for 1.75 seconds. And silence her for 2.5. I also have an Urn offensively. Again, if you use our Urn offensively, it does 150 pure damage. It's very good damage. That's pretty much equivalent to a 200 damage nuke. So, usually keeping 1 Urn to heal, and then using the other one to... 1 Urn to heal and 1 Urn to do damage is usually the way you should do it. It's a really nice TP here by the PA. That's right, I muted the TA. He was like whispering weird things into the mic, so I was like, alright, I can't handle this. I definitely need to run that guy. His HP's too low. Gave him a little bit of a boulder punch, and I knew at this point if he's not 6, there's like no way I die there. But with him dying, all of a sudden I don't have to go back to base. Urn is so good for that reason. I can use 1 to heal myself, and I can use 1 to heal up the PA here. Trying to get a little bit closer. So I basically used did I use 2 boulders there? Not quite sure. Got some much needed observer wards.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Now, one of the most important things I can tell you guys as support is that you start placing your wards in kind of weird areas. I've seen way too many like low MMR games where players will literally only put their wards like on cliffs by rune spots and stuff like that, or in the most common spots imaginable. And it really messes up your game if you guys do that. Like it really limits your ability to have a vision advantage over your opponents. So rather than putting on the cliff, for example, I can maybe place over here. It's not as good, but it still provides some vision. Not to mention that a lot of times as you take a fight by the tier 1 tower, you just reveal the fact that you had a ward there anyways, because you do an engagement that's very clearly very clearly with the help of a high ground ward. Okay, so I've hit 6 here now. Boulder punch and some creeps just to push the lane a little faster, standard stuff here.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Tia is doing a lot of ancient jungling here.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Kind of hoping this guy pushes, I think pretty important too. They really should have sent somebody to defend that, but they haven't. I think the last minute or two I played quite inefficiently. I saw the Pudge going to Ancient, so I knew there would be a fight here. So I shifted over to... And a little bit of a boulder smash there just to interrupt the ultimate. So I basically knew that the only way that fight was going to go was either the TA was going to chase that guy or the Pudge was going to TP in time. So me showing up has definitely helped. I love this ward as well. It's really good for getting some ward vision on mid. If you take a look at what it can see, it sees like almost everything in the safe lane. Give him a silence as well. Oh, he didn't have meld there. No wonder he didn't meld strike. Makes a lot of sense. Doing a little bit of an ulti here. Just redoing my ult.
Come on, sprites.
And then I did another stone a little bit late here. You know, and I don't know why I thought Tia was alive here, but she got wrecked by something. I'm not sure what it was. I thought we were still fighting. And then I was like, wait, I'm by myself. What happened? And then I checked the thing and it was like, oh, TA's been dead for 10 seconds or something. But luckily the PA has rotated. My ultimate was a little sloppy, but it was okay. It did some damage. I think it helped kill the Jug, I guess. We got that out of it, but it wasn't a particularly amazing ulti. But the early game ones are worth casting, you know? Like, it's a medium cooldown. It's like 100 seconds or something, 80 seconds. It's not bad. And again, it does 300 damage. Every time I recast it, it does an extra 300. It's a really good damage skill. By the way, if you want to know how many stones you are, it's right here. How many stones you have. Goes up to 6. We did know that they blocked the Ancients most likely because the Pudge walked there. So I just bought a pair of sentries to go deward.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Got a DD. And now I'm going to go make the rounds in their jungle, put some wards down. This is one of my favorite wards to put. That's very difficult to find for the average player. Another really good ward in that area is you can place it right here instead. Or you can place a ward over here. That's about out of the sentry ward range from on this cliff. I just don't like placing this cliff. It's almost always dewarded. Almost never place it there in pubs. This one is better than this one because this is the most common dewarded spot basically anywhere in here. So I like placing here. Placing over here is good. Placing here is too common, so if you want to place a little bit different, place it up here. Put it over here. Sometimes even placing it here is fine. Doing a gank on top here. Unfortunately, I want to back this up to show you guys, just give you guys a pro tip here. So we saw them over there. We're going to go fight them. The goal is obviously to rolling boulder and use my ultimate. But what happened was I hit the Slark, and then when I used rolling magnetize, the Slark ran away from the enchant. So when I used this, unfortunately, I didn't boulder right away, and that resulted in the Slark not carrying the magnetize over. So it was a little bit unfortunate. I ended up getting wrecked here. I think the bounty did something dumb. He did, yes. I guess he got track gold out of it, but... My TA did something stupid, then I was like, damn, we're throwing. Oh, PA kind of sacrificed herself there.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And luckily I just respawned. I silenced her as well. No urns, unfortunately. So I will have to settle for a Pudge kill. I don't actually know how he died there. I'm gonna say that was probably Orb of Venom or something. Okay, I literally killed him with Orb of Venom. Pudge hits Pudge with Rot. Wow, that's awfully... Oh, Pudge is hitting himself, but my name is Pudge. Oh, it's Earth Spirit, okay. Earth Spirit hits Pudge with Orb of Venom for 2 damage. Range Creep hits him. Tower hits him, but down to 16. Then he starts rotting. He rots down to 3. The Orb of Venom hits him for 2, and I kill him instead of him suiciding. That is ultra lucky. Orb of Venom kills are not very common, guys. That is just something, man. I'm surprised he even killed him. I went from like 3 and then he took 2 damage or something. It must have been very close. Ultra close. How many rot levels do he have? He has so many rot levels. He takes 90 damage a second from rot. And frickin' Orb of Venom, which does 3 damage a second, killed him. Like, that's just dirty, man. Alright, I bought Arcane Boots. Don't like this. I think it was a mistake. Haven't really had that many mana problems. If anything, I've had cooldown problems. Gonna try to kill the Slark, though. Alright, so just to go over what just happened there. We're gonna slow this down a lot. First things first. Get in there and immediately stun him, because we need to make sure that he doesn't cast Dark Pact. Because if he casts Dark Pact... Wait, we gotta stop. Alright, first of all, use Rolling Boulder, double tap Stone Remnant so that it goes full speed, okay? So here we come. Boom, boom, boom. Hits. Immediately drop another Rolling Boulder and punch it in the direction of where he is, but frankly it doesn't matter, because pretty much in a small AoE it's gonna hit him, right? So the important thing is the the Boulder Smash first. You stun him, and then you cast your other shit. In which case I casted Magnetize, so he takes up to 300 magic damage. And afterwards, I need to immediately silence him, because the stun is about to end. And it's important to make sure that he isn't able to get any spells off. So, because he reacted slightly too slow and wasn't able to cast Dark Pact in time, he dies. If he casts Dark Pact, he lives, and I waste my ulti and all this other shit. So, it's literally knife's edge. It's all about how fast you can, as you initiate, drop your stone and boulder smash. So, for that reason, a lot of players actually use... quick cast when they play Earth Spirit, because that way they don't have to. It's a little bit faster mechanically to cast your spells. Because when I do this, I basically do. I press F left click, E, and as I get there, I press E left click, D left click. Instead, what I could do is just say I could go F E D. That's it. 3 button presses. I wouldn't have to do any left clicks at all. Literally no left clicks. I don't have to care about the timing as much. It's just boom. F E E D. F E E D. F E E to double tap the E, and then E D. Yeah. So I press like 5 buttons instead of putting left clicks, like 5 left clicks in there. So it is a better way to play Earth Spirit probably, but I'm not quite sure if I want to get used to that just yet, because if you do some quick cast on Earth Spirit, for example, like I think I played one game with quick cast, and there were times where I didn't like it, because for example, if you want to cast Chronosphere and you're not completely sure how big the Chronosphere animation is, then you don't get the visual representation of it. And I think that's something that's kind of important in a lot of cases, is that you know about how big your skills are. I knew they probably placed a ward up here. The reason for this is because of the fact that they just took the top tower, so as they shifted from there towards the mid lane, that any supports that were there probably put a ward down. So I correctly predicted their ward would be there, and they literally just placed that. So this was like the next 30-second period where I was desperately trying to get somebody to de-ward that. I also got the hell out of there because I didn't want to die. Although, something I realized after is I actually could have just went over here to help. That's pretty good. The boulder actually made a big difference. Kept the TA line, and the bounty just denied him. I thought that was hilarious. I don't think they actually had to do that. But I flew the courier over here because I'm a melee hero. You could justify buying a Quelling Blade maybe, but typically in a lot of cases, Earth Spirit is not a hero that will kill it. What I should have done is just use Rolling Boulder level 1 to roll up to the high ground, because you can guess it. I'd have to move away just an inch or so and then Rolling Boulder back. Instead, I stood around and I asked the Crystal Maiden to walk over, and I made this really inefficient for my team. It would have been better for me just to Rolling Boulder, kill it, wait 16 seconds, and boulder back down. But as you saw in that fight, if you are in a bad situation, you get out of dodge and use Rolling Boulder to get away. The only thing that stops it is stun interruptions. I don't think silences do. Or they'll get in the way of you. Like the direction that you're rolling, they just have to body block you. Similar to how Slark, you can stop his pounce. Bringing myself sentries because Slark has a Shadow Blade, which I saw him building earlier. It was pretty bad that I didn't buy sentries until he had the full Shadow Blade completed. Honestly, the best way to beat Shadow Blade is to have sentries ready as the Shadow Blade comes out. That way, like right now, we should have a sentry ward right here, because Slark could very easily just be watching us right now and going for a kill setup. So even going for this Purge, for example, is pretty dangerous. Punch that in a direction where I thought they might be, and then I'm just sitting back a little bit. Can silence pretty easily there. Oh, I can't believe I missed that boulder. I really needed that to hit. We end up killing him anyways, but Slark should have ultied there, first of all. But my boulder, if it would have hit him, he would have died just right there. Because I silenced him for 4 seconds. The best way to play against Slark as he initiates is you wait till Dark Pack comes out, and then you stun him afterwards. So that's the important thing. Once I get the first silence off, then I just have to stun him afterwards. As long as he doesn't use his Shadow Blade, then we get a kill. So we win a team fight. There's 3 dead heroes. This is the perfect time as a support to move into the jungle and ward better. So what I'm going to do now is try to set us up a bit for having protection against Shadow Blade. So a really good place is here. This sentry ward, I'll just take a look at it quick. This sentry ward covers basically the push into the tier 2. It'll catch the wraparound a little bit, and it'll catch the lane. And it's very hard to see by trees. Another good place that I figured out while doing this is right here, because this is going to spot, with an observer ward on the high ground, this is going to spot him coming in this way, and it's going to spot him coming in this way. I kind of wish it was placed maybe here instead, though, because that way it'd make sure that you catch the full ramp. So with those 2 sentries, look what happens. Boom, we see a Slark. I put another sentry ward down, I see him. Unfortunately, he does get his Dark Pact off, because I was a little bit too slow on my silence. Did a boulder in here to slow him down.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And our TA is just kind of cleaning people up now, which is good.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
But that all started because I had sentry wards placed. Like, players that use Shadow Blades, like, in a lot of cases, it is literally the bane of the 2 to 4k MMR bracket, because people just don't know how to deal with it. But it's so straightforward. You just have to put a sentry going over there to try to potentially help. But you just have to put sentries in a place that you're pushing, and you have to set them up in good places. And as they approach and get within those sentries, you just have to kill them. And in a lot of cases, you get the benefit. You get to initiate first, because if he doesn't know that you have a sentry and you stun him or silence him instantly, then your team is oftentimes going to follow up on that. And that's maybe something in the higher levels, players are better at focusing fire. They know when somebody's out of position and they'll kill that person. So maybe at lower MMRs, even if you do have a sentry, your teammates don't follow up or they get scared. But you have to realize that if you have sentry vision of somebody like a Slark and he doesn't know you're there and you're approaching a tower, you can just kill him. Because every time that you push this tower, for example, a Slark with Shadow Blade is always going to Shadow Blade, and he's always going to run through the jungle and try to approach from the side or the back. Every single frickin' time. And if you prep for that and you have sentry wards ready, he just loses the game. And he's like, boy, I sure wish I didn't have Shadow Blade. You know? And not saying that pro players or good players can't utilize Shadow Blade in a good way. I was really sad about this fight. It was a really good ult by the Purge. He reacted instantly. But I needed to get another stone down and punch those guys. Because if I didn't get my stone down in time, and I didn't boulder smash either. But if I would have done that faster, I would have landed... If I'm level 11, we'll see the numbers. You should just attack him right here, I think. I think with Moonshard and Deso and Melt, he could have just killed him while he was spinning before he died. Pretty sure. And this is like a Slark who's not very good at Slark and relies on Shadow Blade to be strong, you know? Ugh. It's disgusting. Alright, so level 2 Magnetize, it does a total of 450 damage. If I just would have put that boulder down, I would have done an extra 450 to everybody, and I would have refreshed it instantly on whoever I caught. And on top of that, like when they're all that clumped, that is literally when Earthsphere wins games. When they're all clumped, you just... It's so good, man. I think I got him. I got the silence off too. Couldn't believe this Pudge missed so many stuns, but somehow he did. Quav could hypothetically go on me here. In case you guys are wondering why I haven't made a video in a couple of days, because I've been casting like 10 hours a day on Moondark TV for Captain's Draft tournament. So when I cast all day, I can't be bothered to make a video, or in most cases even play Dota. I haven't played much Dota in the last week, just because I've been casting so much. So please forgive me. Sentry Ward is placed there with the intention of not only checking the high ground, but also checking protecting against a Shadow Blade. Like, you don't have to put your sentry ward right on where the spot is. The only time you have to do that is when you're trying to attack high ground to check to see if there's a ward there. If that's the case, put the sentry there. But if you already have an obs there, put the sentry down in a place where it's going to give better vision to potential invis targets, if you're against invis heroes. This isn't placed perfectly. It could be maybe placed here instead. But look, it easily catches this high ground. It also is going to catch some other potential places where a ward could be. And if the Slark Shadow Blades through the lane, you're going to see him. So you got to adjust your Shadow Blades or your sentries a little bit to deal with Shadow Blade, because if you do, it's going to win you games. I lost the sentry, or the sentry here is about to time out. So I put another one down. And again, now if Slark leaves his base with Shadow Blade, we're going to see where he's coming from. And what's his KDA right now? It's awful. It's 0, 3, and 4. This is a Slark that's going to lose the game. I mean, he's also buying an Orchid, so like that's also going to lose in the game. But if you get Shadow Blade, the best thing about it is that it lets you kill heroes repeatedly, and you punish the supports, and the supports don't give very many items, and then it just sucks playing support. But if you do a good job with sentry wards, then none of that happens. You don't have to deal with that kind of stuff. I'm on free camera. No wonder my camera's being awful. Got a stun on 2. She blinked aggressively, so I'm just going to silence both heroes. I missed the rope, the stone there. Small mistake.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Set in stone.
There we go. And then sometimes that happens. You've got a sentry ward that saves your ass because it was placed in a good spot. So I should have just started pushing here, but I was kind of greedy and I felt like going back to get Ags. Again, I feel like I barely used my Arcane Boots all game. Like, it's actually done nothing. So I really wish that those were probably Tranquils instead. They have a decent amount of physical damage with Slark as well as Jugs, so Tranquils would have been useful. But the Arcanes have been mostly nice just to giving out our mana to my team. That part can't be underestimated sometimes. Alright, so again, what Enchant Remnant does is make somebody invulnerable for 3 seconds if it's an enemy. Oh, well, as this ends, it does 300 damage in an AoE. So it can prevent things like Blink Daggers. That was really dangerous to run almost high ground. Pudge just literally can't land hooks, man. Fortunately, I didn't get the magnetize off. Pretty straightforward fight. I basically pushed the Pudge back. I was hoping that would work out. It's kind of dangerous to do that though. Like if you initiate with Rolling Boulder, you can't get out right away. That's the scary part. So you have to be quite careful with how you do that. Also, if you don't have a Blink Dagger, then using it defensively is kind of tough as well. They just reduced the range on this. It's really short. It used to be like 400 or something like that. But now it's like 150 or something to 50 or something crappy. So getting a Blink Dagger at this stage is usually pretty nice to have on our Spirit as well. Tia had like double Moon Shard at this point. No, not yet. I think she's about to buy it though. I was like, here's your wand, dude. You can sell this. And then he was like, fuck my wand. And I was a little sad about that one. Actually kind of need a Ghost Scepter. Ghost Scepter would be nice this game. Due to Omni Slash. I think I bought one next. You could maybe argue for a Force Staff as well. I think I could justify a Force. Both items fairly good against my opponent. It's not very good against Slark, I guess. Force isn't, but it's good against Pudge, Quap, all those heroes. He clearly did not want the Aegis, so I picked it up. I think this is fine because we're winning pretty hard. That makes a lot of sense that he was warding there. For some reason, I just didn't think to check that. He stood there and I was like, is he like waiting to hook somebody or something? I should have checked his inventory though. I think I bought it. Yeah, I bought a gem first because I wanted to have. I didn't want to keep buying sentries, and I wanted to de-ward their observer wards at this stage. Kind of wasting my time. If I had Tranquil Boots, I could probably be farming here, but because I don't have Tranquil Boots, it's kind of expensive to do that. So now I'm just moving around the jungle, looking for observer wards in common places. And this is how you check for wards. You're like, hey, nothing here, good. As long as you don't use the boulder for that, it's totally fine to spam that ability often. I see. They literally just put an observer ward there. Not sure where the Slark went. Okay, he got the Arcane Rune. And now we sit around where Crystal Maiden farms because she had a challenge, so I'm just going to speed things up a little bit. I was scared about a hook there. Luckily my allies backed me up. I almost died to hook again. And with that death, 2 Martin charges, baby. Don't have to go back to base. That shit is the best. And 2 more in charges. I was like, I want to fight. I'm so bad at doing the pullback at the same time.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Alright, now I got Ghost
Tower
Scepter.
is under attack.
And that's what Slark does, man. He kills supports.
Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen.
At this point I was like, I don't want to get soloed by Slark, so I think I'm going to back up and fight safe. But I basically felt like I participated in a lot of kills here. I could see that he was following me here. I actually shot that really badly, but it happened to hit, so that was kind of ridiculous, but it worked. I should have probably punched him when he was running up the cliff here. I think that would have been better. It was actually the worst boulder ever. He actually, well, he cut more north than he did east, so it was kind of weird for him to cut so north, but that's freaking Earthspear, man. I hope you guys learned a lot. He's actually quite fun to play, but I just recommend practicing him and overthrow games or Dota 10v10s or go into custom lobby and practice your combos. I still need a lot of work on my combos, but I feel like I'm using my abilities at the right time now, whereas before I was so caught up in mechanics. This is like the first game where I felt like I could just play support rather than focus on playing Earthspear quickly. So the double tap of the Storm Remnant made a huge difference in me being able to cast accurately, because if you don't add your remnants in the right way, it just completely dicks up your ability to get kills and stuff like that. So make sure you practice the hero, give him a shot. He's a great support hero. He transitions nicely. You can buy so many different items depending on what the situation calls for. I wouldn't say this is an Ags game, really. It was more like a Glimmer Cape game or something, to be honest. Maybe Arcane Glimmer Cape. If I'm getting Glimmer Cape, I'd probably justify Arcanes this game. But there's a lot of items I probably should have bought. I didn't really buy any items, but either way, I was still pretty useful. So I think Blink Dagger Veil is probably my favorite if I was going to say for items. Could have built it. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. That was Earth Spirit. Next up is Shadow Fiend, Slark, OD, Omni, Brood, and Wind Ranger, followed by Batrider. So, variety of mid-heroes. I could have swore that Death Prophet was up here, but I haven't seen her yet. And I went looking for her today because I was like, I could have swore Death Prophet was there, but I don't see her. And I haven't made a video for her in a while, so I'm kind of confused. But I could, maybe it was erroneously removed. I'm not sure, but maybe I'll probably make a Death Prophet game. I feel like she's a popular hero right now. I'm looking in the entire list and I frankly just don't see her. Maybe she doesn't have an icon. Oh, there she is. She's got 33 points. Yeah. Alright, whatever. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Bye.